Hey guys, welcome to the video. In this video, we are talking about how to stick to your grocery budget even when you are hosting during the holidays. Be sure to stick around to the end of the video for a special announcement. Sorry again about my voice. I'm still not feeling the greatest, but I had to get this filming done today where my husband could take the kids out of the house, so I'm recording a few videos. Sorry about the voice. I've got my lemon honey tea here to hopefully help me get through, and hopefully I won't have to re-record and retake too many times, and I can get back to resting up my voice. If you're new around here, I'm Cassie with StreamlineYourHome.com, and again, if you missed that last video, go check it out because I talked about the rebrand that is coming up and I'm super excited about it, so definitely check out that video if you haven't seen it already. All right, let's get into how to stick to your grocery budget when you're hosting during the holidays. I feel like this year, more than ever, groceries have just skyrocketed. And if you have ever been on a budget or if you are on a tight budget now, this is definitely a concern with the holidays coming up, especially if you are going to be someone who is hosting. So let's go through a few different ways that you can still save money during this kind of elaborate and more expensive time of year. And I'm going to kind of divide this video into two parts. The first will be if you are hosting just one big meal, if it's Thanksgiving dinner or something like that, ways you can save money that way. And the second part will be often during the holidays, we're hosting for more than just one day. If you have family coming in from out of town and they're staying for a weekend or a week, that can definitely be a stress on your grocery budget. So we'll talk about some ways that you can make it a little bit more affordable and make it more of an enjoyable time while you have your family with you. So like I said, the first thing we're going to dig into is just if you're hosting that big main family meal. Maybe it's Thanksgiving dinner or Christmas dinner. Now, my tip for hosting the big family meal as economically as possible is to divide things up as much as possible. And I came up with 3 different ways that you could do this depending on how much you like to cook and how you like to host. So the first way I think is kind of the most traditional way, and that is just to assign different people parts of the meal. And I would say this is definitely something where if you have in the past just said, oh, just bring a loaf of bread or just bring some drinks, or you just give people kind of small little things, it would be okay to ask people to do more. And I know this is something that I personally struggle with. I hate asking people to do things, but there was actually a study done, and I'll see if I can find it, where they found that if you ask other people for a favor, they actually like you more. So you ask somebody to do something for you, that person likes you more just because you asked them. And I think it's because all people kind of like to feel needed and wanted. And when you give somebody else a task, you're saying, I trust you with this task and I would like you to do this for us. So don't feel bad about asking other people. And even if in the past you haven't asked much, ask for more this year. Ask people to bring a side and a salad, or a loaf of bread and a salad, or something like that. Or I know in our family, half of the people are gluten-free and half are not. So sometimes my mom will ask me to bring for the people that are not gluten-free the main dish, and then she will do the one for the people who are gluten-free, or things like that, to kind of take some of the stress off of her, where she isn't having to cook double meals for everyone, and it just makes it a little bit easier to divide some of that up and takes a little of the burden, both time-wise and financially, off of her. Now, the second option is for people who I would say are like my grandma. My grandma loves to cook pretty much the whole meal. Even if someone like me who's very close to her would ask her, hey, what can I bring? She would say a very small thing like a loaf of bread or maybe drinks or something like that, maybe a dessert. But she wants to do the bulk of the cooking. It's honestly, I think, a love language of hers to provide that big family meal for everyone. And she's enjoyed doing that and preparing food that way since I can remember. So if you're somebody like that who really enjoys cooking and enjoys watching everyone enjoy the meal and all of that stuff, I would say another way you can kind of divide things up and still have it not be such a strain on your budget is to ask people just to bring the groceries. So not everything, but you can divide up the ingredients among all the different people that are coming and ask people to contribute some amount. So have someone else maybe bring the ingredients for the green bean casserole or something like that. So you're still going to make everything. You're still going to use your recipes if you're particular about that, but it will still cut down on the cost. And you'll provide some of the things, obviously, but if you had every family bring even just one bag of groceries, that would help a lot in the grocery budget for the meal. So that's another thing you can do. And the third thing that you can do, and I feel like this is going to be controversial and a lot of people are going to hate me for this one, but I also don't think it would be bad if you are somebody who wants to have that experience of cooking all the things and providing it for your family, to ask your family members when they say, hey, can we bring anything? Say, you know what? I actually would love to cook it, but what I'm asking is that every family this year just chips in $10 or $20 or whatever you can afford to just help cover some of the costs, just because grocery prices have gone up so much. I personally don't know really anyone that would be offended by that. And if they are, oh well, I guess they don't have to do it. But I think most people would understand. And I know just about everyone I talk to talks about the prices of groceries right now and how much just living has increased. So I think just about everyone would understand that. And I think that's absolutely fair too. If you are cooking this huge elaborate meal, just have everyone contribute a little bit towards the meal. So those are my 3 ideas for if you are just hosting one meal. Tell me in the comments which one you like, which one you think you might use, and which one you think is ridiculous, because I'm sure some people won't like at least one of them. So you can let me know those 2 things in the comments. And now we will switch to talking about if you're hosting for a weekend or maybe even a full week. There are, again, a few different options to make sure that this doesn't just wipe out your grocery budget for the whole month. Now, this first idea I actually got from my mother-in-law. She did this last time our family and my brother-in-law's family all came home for, I think it was a week. She said, I want you each to choose a dinner, and you are going to be in charge of that dinner. You are in charge of getting the groceries that you need for that dinner, and you're in charge of making that dinner. So this works really well, especially if you aren't somebody who wants to cook for a lot of people every single day, because that was 2 dinners then that she didn't have to cook for the time that we were there. And this helps alleviate some of the grocery burden, and it also helps alleviate some of the cooking burden. And I know we didn't mind doing it at all. I don't think my brother-in-law's family minded doing it, and I actually quite enjoyed it because we got to try different things that we wouldn't have gotten to otherwise. Along this line, the second idea I have is to assign different families a day. So she just had us each do 1 dinner, so that was 2 dinners that she didn't have to cook. But another thing that she could have done was to say, okay, our family, we are in charge of Tuesday. And on Tuesday, we make breakfast, we make lunch, and we make dinner. And we're in charge of getting the groceries for those meals and preparing them for the family. And then my brother-in-law's family would have been in charge of a different day. So if you're having, even if you just have one other family with you, if they just take 1 day, that can make a big difference in making this much more affordable for you. The last idea that I have for if your family is staying with you for quite a while is to have cheaper meals other than that big family meal, that Thanksgiving dinner or that Christmas dinner. Have cheaper meals pretty much the rest of the time. You guys know I'm a big fan of simple breakfasts, and those are often pretty cheap. I'm also a big fan of simple lunches and having leftovers for lunches, which if you're having that big family dinner, you're probably going to have quite a bit of leftovers unless it's on the very last day. But I know something my family has actually done in the past. If the big holiday would be on the very last day, we've had the big holiday meal earlier so that we can enjoy those leftovers. I know my husband in particular loves Thanksgiving leftovers. It's almost more exciting to him than the actual Thanksgiving meal. I don't know why, but he wants to be able to enjoy those leftovers. So we've actually moved up that big family meal if Christmas, for example, is going to fall on Sunday and we're all leaving Sunday evening. You could do it on Friday, or you can do it on Saturday, or you could even do it on Thursday. And then you can have those leftovers for lunches the rest of the time. And then I would also do cheap dinners. So dinners that you can feed quite a few people for not too much money. One example of this is tacos. When I was growing up, my aunt, every Thanksgiving, we had tacos on Friday night. We would always go to her house for a Thanksgiving, and I always looked forward to the tacos almost as much as the big Thanksgiving dinner. And my aunt is an amazing cook, so every meal was really delicious. But those tacos every Friday night, it was so fun, and it's a tradition in their house to do it every Friday night. So I always knew and I always looked forward to that meal, even though it's a simple meal and it's not going to cost a lot to make for a lot of different people. Even when I go and visit my aunt as an adult, I tell my kids, I know what we are having on Friday night and I look forward to those tacos just as much as I did when I was a kid. So that would be a great meal to add to your meal plan for the week or the weekend. You could do tacos, you could do burritos, or you could even do a burrito bowl. Anything where beans and rice are the bulk of the meal, it's going to cost less to feed that to a whole bunch of people. And even if you are eating meat and wanting to make meat, I think it's ground beef that you use for meals like that is fairly inexpensive as far as meat goes. So there are a lot of different ideas that you can do along that line. Or another really great idea that's fairly inexpensive to make is baked potatoes. We've actually done that a few times recently when we have had company, and it's interesting because it's such a simple meal that everyone knows, but each time the company has actually just raved about the potatoes and said how much they love that meal, but sometimes they forget to do it just because it's such, an old one that I think we all grew up with. It's not one that's on the top of mind. It's not current or trendy, but everyone has talked about how it's such a comfort meal for them. And the other thing that's great about the baked potatoes is you can throw those in the oven and have them cooking, and it's not a meal where you have to really be slaving over a hot stove to get it ready. And it kind of cooks on its own, and the toppings really don't take too long to get ready either. So you can actually throw potatoes in the oven and watch a Christmas movie with your family or play a game or something like that, and you can still enjoy the time without having to spend all of your time in the kitchen. All right, guys, if you've made it this far, I would love to hear in the comments down below, what are your favorite simple meals that can feed a big crowd of people on a tight budget? I love getting those ideas from you guys, and I know other moms would love to see those as well, especially with the holidays coming. All right, so before we go, I wanted to be sure to let you guys know about something exciting that is happening next week. I am going to be teaching a live workshop called How to Streamline Your Home in Half the Time, even if things seem out of control right now. So if that sounds like a workshop you can use, especially with the chaotic holiday time coming up, be sure to sign up for the workshop. I will leave a link down below. And I will actually be doing this workshop 3 different times live. So I will be there. It will be live. You can ask questions and we can chat on the workshop. At the end, there will be a time for Q&A. So if you would like to come and hang out with me, I would love to have you there. So there will be 3 different links. I will put the date and time for each one, and I hope at least one of them will work for your schedule if that sounds like something that would be helpful for you. All right, guys, that is all I had for this video. As always, I am Cassie, and I want to help you get 7 extra hours in your week. So if that sounds like something you could be into, be sure to subscribe down below and ring the bell next to it, because I would love to see you on the next video.